Let's now have a look at another example of a lesson plan. This is for an elementary level class. So remember, elementary students generally have about 1,000 words, but remember they're not the lowest level student because there's starter and false beginner that become before elementary. So the objective of this lesson is to look at food related topics and base it around a simple English recipe, which is fish and chips. So, introduction stage of the lesson is to show some food items and ask them to elicit what they are. So have them on visuals or some kind of realia that you can use with the students. So the 4 examples here are fish and chips, pizza, curry and hamburger and chips. So show these pictures to the students and elicit as many ideas as you can from the pictures. Also have a look at some of the sounds because this is an elementary level lesson, so make sure you do some drilling on the keywords and sounds. So with fish we've got the sh sound and chips we've got the ch sound. So maybe focus a little bit on the sh sound, fish, shower, shoe, and then the ch sound, chips, teacher, church. And then with hamburger, you've got the sound, so things like girl and bird. Once you've gone through the pronunciation and done some drilling and elicited ideas from the pictures, ask them which is the best dish that represents Britain. Hopefully, they will choose fish and chips. Once they've done that, you can move on to activity 1. This is a student-to-student interaction activity. So put the students into groups or pairs, and again this will depend on the dynamics and numbers you have in your class, and give them a set of pictures. They need to match up the correct picture with the correct word, and it's all based around how to make fish and chips. So a good question to start with would be, what do we need to make fish and chips? So they should elicit fish and chips, but obviously there are some other ingredients we need if we're making this recipe from scratch. So the ingredients we've got are flour, salt, baking powder, turmeric and sparkling water. Now because this is a lower level class, try and have visuals for each of the ingredients that have just been mentioned. The students will know some of them perhaps, but they might not know some others. So ask them to match up the ingredients with the correct pictures. Also then go back and focus on some of the pronunciation. So flour, we've got the ow sound. Turmeric, we've got the sound again that we had in the first example with hamburgers. And then we'll move on to activity 2, and this is talking about the verbs that we use in cooking. So try and elicit some from the students. You could demonstrate some, or you could use pictures as well, again, to demonstrate. So we've got fry, grill, roast and steam. So they're the different methods of cooking, and then 2 important verbs in recipes would be put and mix, and these are quite easy verbs to demonstrate. Mix, you could just use your hands as if you were mixing something in a bowl. From there, find a short video of somebody making fish and chips. Turn off all the sound, so all the students are watching is a video. They can see the visual, but they can't hear anything. Freeze frame each section and get them to come up with a word from the recipe. So fish, chips, flour, sparkling water, and all of the other words that we looked at before. Then give the students the instructions about how to make fish and chips. Now the instructions themselves should be quite simple because this is an elementary level class. Give them the instructions and ask them to put them in order using the verb prompts and use the pictures to help them. From there, in activity 5, ask your students to tell you how to cook something simple using the same verbs that we used for fish and chips and the same cooking methods that we looked at in the lesson, to think about maybe something that they cook on a regular basis or something that's maybe more typical of their home country cooking rather than fish and chips. So this is also a good way to recycle and consolidate vocabulary looked at in the class. You have to remember that vocabulary is a cycle. We see it, They then need to hear it before they can actually use it and repeat it again. So this is a good way of doing that.